Hello. Welcome to the Perceptionist Playbook podcast. I'm your host, Abisola, and I'm here to talk about all things tech, UX, UI specifically, business, entrepreneurialism, and career. So make sure you stay tuned for today's episode of the Perceptionist Playbook podcast. So on today's episode, we will be talking about the Perceptionist Playbook host, which is me. I will be talking you through my journey, how I became a designer in the first place, and how I broke into the tech industry. So yeah, I'm going to start at the very beginning. I have my notes here with me because I don't want to go off topic too much, because I have this tendency to ramble, and I know that nobody has time for that. So I will definitely be keeping to the point. So my tech career. I'm just going to start at the top. How I even got into tech. How I even came across the idea. So in 2020, back when the virus that we will not speak of was in its prime, I was actually in university, and I was in my final year of university studying BA International Business with honours, and I was very unsettled about what my career path was going to be. I had kind of I'd known that I love business, and eventually I'd want to own my own business and work for myself. But it's a great idea in theory, but you kind of need a lot of, steps in between before you get to that big dream. And so I just thought, in between getting to my dreams, I would simply just, get a job as a project manager or a business analyst and just work my way up and save money or work hard until I can work for myself. And I know that's a lot of people's stories. You just kind of follow the trajectory that's placed in front of you in terms of, we all know you go to nursery, you go to primary school, then you go to secondary school, then you go to college, or you go to sixth form, and then you go to university, or you can do an apprenticeship or an internship, and then you work the rest of your life for the next 40 years until you're old and grey. And to me, that just sounded so brain-numbingly boring. I did not want to be somebody who was at my desk, drowning in coffee, trying to keep myself awake because I hate being there. And then I go home, complain about how much I hate my job, just to wake up and do it again the next day. I wanted to do something that was fulfilling to myself and my personality and my interests. And I wanted something that was going to be enjoyable for me in the long run. So I had graduated at this point. This was in, I want to say August of 2020. I'd graduated, and the post-graduation blues had unfortunately settled in, and that was the lowest point in my entire existence. And I actually lived in another country by myself for a year, and that was horrendous. But that's a story for another day about my time living in Spain as a Black woman. But I genuinely just felt what am I doing with my life? What's next? Where am I going from here? And I came across this lovely techfluencer called Mabintu Collie, I think, and I hope I've said her name right. If not, I'm so sorry, girl. But yeah, shout outs to Mabintu. I came across her YouTube video, and she posted a YouTube video all about a day in a life, not really a day in a life, but what her day as a UX UI designer what her day looked like. And I listened and I watched that video, and by the end of the video, I was convinced that I needed to learn more about this career. I just thought, at the end of that video, I said to myself, if I could describe myself in a career or in a job, this would be what I would be, because it encompasses all of my passions and all of my personal interests rolled into one, beautiful gift. I just thought to myself, yeah, I need to learn more. And in her video, she recommended a boot camp. And I thought to myself, okay, cool. Let me do my research. Let me see what the options are. Let me see how I can get into this industry. At this point, I'd pretty much been thinking about 100 steps ahead, figuring out how I'm going to now be a CEO of a UX UI design company, as I do. And because my mind loves to wander like that, just go crazy places. But yeah, I actually ended up doing my research, and the more I researched, the more I fell in love with the job role. And it was still quite a new job role, so there's not loads of information about it, although it was building some traction. Like, a lot of people were trying to get in there. So I thought to myself, there's the self-learning option and there's the being taught option, which has multiple routes. And so I thought to myself, let me research the bootcamp that she'd suggested. And so when I did that, I ended up booking a call with the then recruitment manager, and he was so helpful, so warm, so welcoming. Customer service was 10 out of 10, and I am really big on customer service. If your customer service is bad, I am not coming back. I'm not coming back. Doesn't matter how much I need the product, I will not come back. You will not see me again. And so after that experience, after the first experience or introduction to UX UI, I just thought to myself, yeah, I need to do this. The boot camp was something that you had to pay for, so I literally put a presentation together. If you know me, this is what I do. I literally will put a document together any day of the week about the most randomest things. Like, that's how I plan my birthdays. There's always a presentation to go with it. So I put together this presentation. I went downstairs, called my parents together. I asked them to sit down and listen to my presentation. I presented the idea and I said to them, would you be able to support me through this journey? Because I need the support to be able to do this boot camp. And they said, okay, yeah, sure. Like, if you really want to do it, then cool, we'll help you out. So shout out to my mum and dad. And yeah, they helped me get started. I got all signed up for the boot camp. Bear in mind, again, this happened in a short amount of time. Like, I was on the cohort. I think I am part of their 4th or 6th cohort. And if you check out their page now, Love Circular, shout outs to you guys. They are well into, a greater number than that. So yeah, I was, part of the earlier. I think they just launched the year before. So I think they launched in 2019 or like early 2020. So I like to call myself one of their test subjects, but it wasn't really a test. Like, they were very, very organized, very much prepared. They were very helpful, very professional, and I felt like I had everything that I need in their boot camp. So yeah, I did their boot camp. Long story short, it was so good. Every week I found that I was learning way more about the career, the business, the company, and everything that I was learning, I was enjoying. And I'm someone who you had to send to school kicking and screaming. I've always said I'm not going back to university, okay? If I tell you that I'm going to go and get a master's, see that as the cry for help that it is, because I would never return to any educational institution by choice. I would go under duress for sure. And you'd have to drag me there kicking and screaming, because it's just not for me. I've never enjoyed it. Didn't enjoy primary school, didn't enjoy secondary school, didn't enjoy college, didn't enjoy sixth form, didn't enjoy every single part of my educational journey. I hated every single part of it, and deeply regretted going to university. But I feel like the experience was necessary. It wasn't necessarily the degree. Like, I could do without the student loan debt. But anyways, I digress. This is why I have notes, guys, because I will go off topic. But yeah, I literally did the boot camp, and then I graduated from the boot camp. And because during that same time that I was figuring out that I wanted to be a UX UI designer, I had also started freelancing as a digital marketer. So I was doing digital marketing for a number of clients. And so I was doing that full time. I was freelancing full time for myself. And I just thought to myself, you know, these are people who are either establishing their brand or have their brand. And everybody, both as in people that fall into both categories, they both needed websites. So I thought to myself, let me just add it to my list of services and see where it takes me. This was just before I graduated from the Love Circular Bootcamp. I just thought it would be a good idea, or a great way to get experience would just be to offer my services to, you know, other people, or to the people that already knew me and trusted my skills. And so I did that, and you know, we thank God that they were willing to let little old me give it a try and give it a go with their brand. And so I was designing websites for people, and that gave me great insight into what the job was. And even at that stage, I still loved it. I still enjoyed the idea of it. I still wanted to do it every day. So this was 2020 into early 2021. I did the boot camp. Throughout 2021, I was freelancing, living off of that, and it was amazing. I was absolutely thriving, as in I was working 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, like, because I had so much to do every single day for all my lovely clients. So also shout outs to the clients that started my journey and that I had back then. I really, really appreciate the support from all of you, and you know who you are. I won't mention you by name in case you don't want any parts of that, but you guys know who you are, and I'm really, really appreciative and eternally forever grateful for the opportunities and just the belief in me. So end of 2021, so I was applying for jobs on and off. If you've applied for jobs before, you're very aware of two things. The first thing is applying for jobs is a full-time job in itself. The second thing is applying for jobs is extremely dehumanizing. It is the most emotionally taxing thing that you can do with your time when it comes to, you know, work, applying for jobs. It can just be so negative, and after a while, you know, all those no's, all those rejection emails, all those not picked, not now, not today, it really does do a number on you. And I got to the point where I was just like, I need a break. I need to take a break from applying for jobs because this is so overwhelming. It's so dehumanizing. I feel like crap every day. I feel like nobody wants to hire me. I feel like, why am I not a good enough candidate for anybody to hire? So I took a break, then got back to it, and eventually I was interviewing and had an interview with my first company. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm a great interviewer. Like, on multiple occasions, with the people that were interviewing me, we would go completely off topic. I've literally been giving somebody life advice, love advice, relationship advice, you name it. I have done it on an interview. Like, sometimes it would be like, oh, time is literally gone. Oh, girl, I've got to get back to work. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Well, let me know how I did. And it always just turns into like a conversation, especially with the women that were interviewing me, especially with them. But yeah, essentially I was interviewing, and it got to an interview where this interview, I was invited for the second stage of the interview, which was a group interview. This was the one and only group interview that I've ever done or ever did virtually. And essentially we were all put into this Zoom call all together, or Teams call, I can't remember what platform it was on, and you could literally see everybody's faces that was being interviewed. So there were like 10 faces that were in little boxes, little squares on my screen. And I just thought to myself, if I'm being 100% real, there was like 3 black people on this call and the rest were white men, white men, I believe. And I just thought to myself, oh, it's going to be one of the white men. Like, no way I'm gonna get this job. What? They're gonna give it to the white men. And it was a white man that was interviewing me. And so I just thought to myself, yeah, I have no chance. I have no chance. So in my head, I had written off that job already after I saw all of those faces. But then I was invited to do the next round, which was the task. So I was told to design an app for like a dog company. And they gave me a time frame as well, like 2 or 3 hours. Only spend 2 or 3 hours on the task, and other parameters and criteria was included as well. So, you know, I just thought to myself, let me enjoy it. You know, let me have a good time. I literally threw puns in there. It was very punny, and if you know me, I love a good pun or a good meme. I threw puns in there. I just thought, let me have a great time because it's not gonna go to me anyways. And you know what? I have a history of doing this and getting the job, so, but I would not recommend being so self-deprecating during the process. Like, it's already bad enough that people are sending you rejection emails. You need to believe in yourself. That is all that will get you through. And so I sent over my task, which was nothing amazing, but I'm happy to share it if you guys want to see it. And yeah, long story short, I ended up being offered the job on, like, I want to say 2 days before Christmas. And the guy who offered me the job, who was my manager and also the managing director, the design director, he was like, oh, I hope it's a nice Christmas present. And I was like in shock. I was in total, utter, complete shock, guys. I couldn't believe that I was just offered this role. Like, I was like, what? A whole me. I beat these people. I don't know. Like, the tech space is very non-cultural. It's not diverse at all. And I don't see a lot of people that look like me in the tech space. Now, I'm in a lot of tech communities that are reflective of people that look like me, but not where I've worked, not the offices that I've been to, no. And it's such a shame to be able to say that, because, you know, one thing that I do thrive towards, or one thing that I'm working towards, is just figuring out how to bring more of us into this space. There's room for us all, and I really want to share this platform, this space, with people that look like me and sound like me. And it would be very nice if, you know, it could be done. And I will 100% do everything in my power to bring people up there with me, because I just feel like it's not diverse enough and we need more of that. So yeah, I just gone off topic again. But I was offered the role, and I started the role in January of 2022. And yeah, I worked there for a year until 2023. I was going to say this year, but 2023, February. Yeah, so it was just over a year, and ended up leaving that job when I was offered this role that I'm currently in as a senior UI designer. So that is a hilarious story in itself, because if you were along for the ride and for the journey during that time, you know that I genuinely almost played myself. I almost played myself out of this job that I'm in now. And yeah, would not recommend.